All right, well, thank everybody for coming. This is an opportunity for one more time people to understand what's real in this campaign and to understand how this campaign actually affects the brand new 13th Congressional District. I'm State Senator Bert Johnson, and today we're here at Henry Ford High School, and this is a very important milestone, if you will, for uncovering the truth about what's been happening in the city of Detroit, particularly related to our Detroit public school system. Since the beginning of former emergency manager Robert Bob's reign at DPS through today with current manager Roy Roberts, there's been one agenda at play. This agenda has been pursued at all costs, without regard to the tax-paying citizens of Detroit. This has been a mission to privatize DPS and turn its children into commodities. The failure of this scheme has been visible since its inception, particularly with regard to the EAA. John Covington, the chancellor of the EAA, was a failed superintendent in the city of Kansas in their public school system. The private dollars to fund the operation of the EAA are non-existent, and they just aren't there. Only a fraction of that money has been raised. Now the EAA, which was supposed to be privately funded and was supposed to cover the entire state of Michigan, is drawing down state dollars to fix a problem that festered under state control in the first place. This is a direct indictment and affront to the state of Michigan and emergency manager Roy Roberts. If these buildings are not up to code and they require state dollars to fix them, despite now being under private control, it means that they were not up to code in the first place and were neglected while the state had authority over them these past several years, in fact, the past decade. This has culminated in today's press conference to discuss Representative John Conyers Jr., his role in advancing the privatization agenda as a result of his overt contributions to this plan and his subsequent advocacy against Public Act 4 and emergency managers that began in mid-2011 when he realized that he might in fact face a tough primary election by someone like me. It also begins to explain why he will not appear in a public forum or debate me at all in this campaign. Simply put, John Conyers supported emergency manager Robert Bob as he pillaged Detroit public schools. He sat on his committees, and he provided legitimacy to his actions, watching Bob all the while close our schools and denigrate our children and continue the outsourcing of our jobs, and he made sure that his corporate friends got paid. Most egregiously, Congressman Conyers donated almost $20,000 to the Proposal S campaign. Almost $20,000. The money from Proposal S, all taxpayer dollars from citizens in this community around Henry Ford and all over the city of Detroit, was used to build new schools in Detroit. It raised our property taxes. It saddled us with more debt. And now those schools are now being transferred away from Detroit's taxpayers and into the underfunded, privately controlled EAA. Simply put, by legitimizing Robert Bob's actions through appearances and moral and financial support, John Conyers Jr. was assisting Bob in his quest for complete autonomous control over DPS, which in fact led to Public Act 4. Conyers is as culpable for the draconian emergency manager law that he now claims to oppose as any Republican lawmaker who voted for it. And I might add, it follows the pattern of practice, just like in Romulus, where a deep injection well is vehemently opposed by citizens in that community, where John Conyers, and perhaps even his wife, authored a letter out of his office to support that well against the interests of those citizens, and now curiously, he takes it back in a letter saying he was never for it. Prior to this election, he was complicit in these plans to commoditize our children and to allow people to profit off of our children. This is the worst type of hypocrisy in politics, and it's what makes so many individuals, so many residents give up on their elected officials and their government. It also explains why John Conyers refuses to be held accountable to the voters in this new 13th district in any public setting. It is nothing more than appalling that, faced with an election challenge, after 47 years, he would cower away from the microphones and allow his campaign to fearmonger and his staff alike across the district about the false narrative of black representatives or black citizens splitting the vote and allowing a white candidate to win. John Conyers, like everyone else in this race, including myself, must face the voters that we're asking to represent. Tonight he should appear with me at the National Association of Black Journalists Forum at Wayne State University Law in their auditorium. It's the first debate that we've had, and there have been 5 other forums that he's failed to present himself at, and we understand that tonight he's already made public affirmations that he won't attend. If John Conyers won't do it and he won't present himself to the public, then I'm going to challenge the media to go find where he is and ask him the tough questions, particularly related to some of the mistruths that he's put out about his support or lack thereof or of Public Act 4. I'll take any questions from folks who are here to ask those questions. Thank you. I think it's a couple things, but I think the largest is pretty simple. Number one, people don't know what the district boundary lines are. I still talk to people across this district who don't know who they're going to support because they don't know in what district they live. And so there's been a huge lack of education in our campaign, which has gone door to door in every community and has gone to forums and churches and town hall meetings and backyard parties. We've gone everywhere to explain the boundaries to folks, to let them understand that there are 12 cities in this district. Those 12 cities are very simple. West Side Detroit, Highland Park, River Rouge, Wayne, Westland, Ecorse, Romulus, Inkster, Ecorse, Dearborn Heights, Redford Township, and Melvindale. And each of those cities has a unique opportunity to band together because it's a blue-collar district. And so we all actually have the same Democratic blood flowing through our veins, whether it's Garden City or Highland Park. The issues are pretty much the same. But people don't necessarily know where, in fact, they're living and in what district they're going to vote for. This is the new 13th Congressional District. Well, I say number one, that if John Conyers feels like he doesn't have to put himself in front of voters, then I think he's forgotten what the job is really about. This is not about personality. Never once could I get around this district and tell people that I don't have to come to where they are, that I don't have to let them question me, that I don't need to be queried or vetted on issues that are current day issues. You know, this isn't 1964, and this isn't my grandfather's district anymore. This is an opportunity for us now to focus on all the issues that are germane to how people are living or how they're forced to live. So whether it's homelessness, mental illness, jail overcrowding, blown out prison budgets, mortgage foreclosure, lack of healthcare opportunities, lack of mass transit, you name it, John Conyers has to be vetted and queried on those questions as well. And for any of his supporters who believe that that's not smart, that that's not the right thing to do, well, then I will tell you that I believe that they're running scared. I believe that they're running a fear-mongered campaign where they don't believe that they could stand the test in front of any of the other candidates or on a stage with any of the other candidates. And I, cherish those opportunities. I think it's an opportunity to really get in front of people and show them who you are. I think that's that's the simplest question to answer. Number one, we see no color with respect to our policy. As a matter of fact, in my background going to UD High and UD Mercy, I learned to mesh with all people very early in my life. And so it doesn't matter whether we're white or black or Asian Pacific or Latino. It doesn't matter who we are. We all need the same policies coming out of Washington to help us. I've done that in the Senate. I've done that in the House. I've reached across party lines. I've reached across color lines. I've reached into the most diverse districts in the state of Michigan to represent them in the 5th House District and the 2nd Senate District. And now with the newly constructed 13th Congressional District, we believe that this is now Michigan's newest and most diverse congressional district. And so we'll do the same thing there. Doesn't matter who you are and where you are, we're coming to you with sound policy that in fact will take care of you. We see no color in this election, and that should be the case in Washington, D.C.